Hello. So today our chapter is India and other countries. Let's get into the chapter. Let's revise. In the last chapter we studied the United Nations and got to know about its role in peacekeeping. We also got to know that India has always helped the United Nations in this task. In this chapter we shall take a critical review on India's relation with neighboring countries. We will also understand India's relation with some faraway nations. We have a task before getting into the chapter. Let's find out. First one, with help of a map of South Asia given below, find out India's neighboring with whom India shares their borders. Second one, find out which country of our neighboring countries share boundaries with each other. First topic, India and their neighbors. India's position in Asia is geographically and politically important. Afghanistan, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Nepal, Bhutan, China, Maldives are India's neighbors. The values of equality and mutual respect have a great importance in India's foreign policy. India has established relations with neighboring countries on the basis of these values. India is the biggest country in the Indian subcontinent. Similarly, India is economically and technologically more advanced. It is thus natural that India has a great influence among the South Asian countries. In this, our first topic is India and Pakistan. In 1947, India was partitioned and two independent countries, India and Pakistan, was created. India-Pakistan. Indo-Pak relations are influenced by three main factors. Difference in the world views of both the countries, the Kashmir question, and the nuclear rivalry between the two countries. India and Pakistan have totally different worldviews. In the line with the Indian worldview, India opposed the military alliance of the Cold War and tried to solve the Indo-Pak conflict bilaterally. The Shimla Agreement of 1972 was based on this principle. On the other hand, Pakistan tried to maintain relations with the Islamic world and China and entered into the military agreement with America. Pakistan considers Kashmir as the biggest hurdle in establishing relations with India. The first Indo-Pak War took place in 1965 over Kashmir. The Tashkent Agreement was signed in 1966, but nothing much came out of it. Even though the 1971 wars were about the creation of Bangladesh, it also had the dimension of Kashmir problem to it. The Shimla Agreement in 1972 provided a new format to the interaction between India and Pakistan. In 1999, there was a conflict between India and Pakistan over the infiltration by Pakistan in the Kargil region. Even today, the Kashmir question is the basic cause of conflict between the two countries. The nature of the conflict has changed, and this new type of conflicts can be described as terrorism. Both India and Pakistan conducted nuclear tests in 1998, and that gave rise to new concerns in this region. Many countries feel that these two nations should not get locked in nuclear conflict. One more issue in Indo-Pak relation is the border dispute in Sir Creek area. Both countries have made efforts to establish a dialogue with each other, but considering the way in which Pakistan is supporting terrorism against India and is engineering terrorist activities in India, all efforts at establishing dialogue are proving to be unsuccessful. India-China. The conflict between India and China is connected to two issues. First one, border issue. Second one, status of Tibet. The border dispute between India and China is related to Aksai Chin area and the Makchohan line. China claims that the area south to Aksai Chin and the Arunachal Pradesh or the Meghalaya line is the Chinese territory. China is not willing to agree with the McMahon line is an international border. India made several efforts to solve this border dispute by means of dialogue, but it has not met with much success. In 1962, China attacked India. Tibet was traditionally autonomous, but when China was stepping up its military control in India, Dalai Lama took asylum in India. This issue has been responsible for the conflict between the two countries. The threat of India's security is increasing due to the friendship between China and Pakistan, supply of weapons from China to Pakistan, and also transfer of missiles, nuclear weapons technology. The increasing friendship between China and Pakistan and the increasing influence of China over India's other neighbors is a cause of concern for India. Even then, India has always made efforts to improve relations with China. A joint executive group has been set up to solve the Sino-Indian border dispute. When the rate of economic growth of both India and China increased, the trade relations between the both countries began to get strengthened. Because of improvement in economic and trade relations between India and China, a series of tripartite talks between Russia, China, and India and the Sino-Indian relations are improving slowly. E- Even though the border dispute is not completely resolved, it has taken a backseat, and relations in other areas has become more important. India and the other neighboring countries. Afghanistan. There is a lot of political instability in Afghanistan. The dominance of the terrorist organization Taliban is responsible for this. India has extended help to bring peace, security, and stability, curb violence, and establish a democratic government. Similarly, India is also helping Afghanistan in re establishing communication facilities that have got destroyed due to war, build roads, cooperate in the fields of science and technology, and build schools, health facilities, and education projects. Bangladesh. Today's Bangladesh is the this part of of the East Pakistan. When Pakistan was created, it has two parts, East and West Pakistan. There was linguistic differences between them. There were other political conflicts as well. The movement of liberate Bangladesh emerged out of this. The movement tried to free Bangladesh from the dominance of West Pakistan. India helped Bangladesh in its freedom struggle. Bangladesh was formed in 1971. Some treaties were signed between India and Bangladesh about sharing river waters and some regarding sharing borders, which put an end to the conflict between them. Now, trade relations between the two countries are growing. Sri Lanka. India has friendly relations with the southern neighbor Sri Lanka. Political instability in Sri Lanka after 1985 was a result of differences between Tamils and the Sri Lankan government. At that time, India had sent a peacekeeping force to help the Sri Lankan government. Friendly relations with Sri Lanka are important for the point of view of security in the Indian Ocean. Nepal. Nepal and Bhutan are the landlocked countries surrounded by the mountain terrains. Their boundaries are linked with India and China. The foundation of friendship between India and Nepal was laid with Indo-Nepalism Friendship Treaty in 1950. According to this treaty, Nepali citizens can not only enter India but they can also be permitted to take up government jobs and carry on in trade with India. The year 1990 marked the beginning of Nepal's transitions to democracy. Nepal is dependent upon India for economic process, basic for facilities, food related needs, trade and energy needs. India has set a lot of help to Nepal at the time of the 2015 earthquake. Bhutan. India bears the responsibility of the defense of Bhutan. Bhutan has a huge source of water. India has cooperated in the project to produce hydel power on large scale using this source. Myanmar. Myanmar is the India's doors to Southeast Asian countries. Southeast Middle Asia and Northeast Southeast South Asia. Sorry for that. South Asia, Middle Asia, and Southeast Asia will be connected with each other with the rail and roadway that are being developed in this area. This will help increase trade and other exchange in this region. India will be able to import natural gas from Maldives. India's relationships with the Maldives have been friendly right from the beginning. The small nation to the south of the India is dependent on India for a lot of reasons. Trade relations has been established between the two since 1981. India has helped Maldives in the development of basic facilities or infrastructure, health and communication. From 2006 onwards, cooperation in the military field also started between the two countries. They have entered into treaties with respect to the cooperation in space research, conservation of historical objects, and tourism. Similarly, they have decided to cooperate in the area of fighting against terrorism. We have a box over here, information box. Let's look into it. Aung San Suu Kyi is credited with having established democracy in Myanmar after a long drawn struggle against the military regime there. She has been awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. We have another information box over here. South Asia Association for Regional Cooperation. SAARC is a regional organization established with the South Asian countries in 1985. The aim of this organization is to encourage economic cooperation between South Asian nations and thereby achieve the development of the South Asian region. The Organizations of SAARC is a platform for South Asian countries to come together and discuss common questions and interests. Some common interests of South Asian countries are elevation of property, development of agriculture, and technological revolution. Some treaties are signed on the SAARC platform to make it easy for South Asian countries to trade with each other. As a part of this, it has been decided that South Asian nations should be made into free trade area for an adequate development of South Asian nations. A treaty about forming South Asian free trade area was signed and South Asian University was established. So here's the question for you. What was the purpose behind establishing the organization SAARC? Second one, how many numbered nations are there in SAARC today? Third one, what is the common interest of South Asian countries? Our next topic is India and America. India and America are two powerful nations who have democratic political systems. Right from the beginning, America was India's most important trading partner. Many Indians went to America for education or work. Due to the presence of these non-resident India, the culture, social, and economical relations with America and India have been increasing. After the end of Cold War, the military relations between India and America has increased on a large scale. After India accepted free market economy, the speed of economic process slowly increased. It resulted in further strengthening the trade relations between India and America. When India conducted nuclear tests in 1998, there was tension in the relation between the two countries. Many rounds of discussion took place after to improve the relations. Though these rounds of talks, America came to believe that India will use its nuclear weapons with responsibility. This completely transformed the Indo-American relations. The Civil Nuclear Agreement signed in 2005 that is approved by the US Congress in 2008 was an important landmark in Indo-American relation. In the last 5 years, the cordial relation of the cooperation in different areas have developed between India and America. We have an information box over here. Do you know in 2005 the India-US Civil Nuclear Agreement was signed by Dr. Manmohan Singh, the then Prime Minister of India, and George W. Bush Jr., the then American President. In 2018, the International Atomic Energy Agency gave its approval to the deal. Because of this deal, it became possible for India to get nuclear technology from other countries as well. India and Russia. India and the erstwhile Soviet Union and Russia of today has always shared friendly relations. In 1971, the Indo-Soviet Treaty of Friendship and Cooperation was signed between them, and it gave great impetus to the cooperation between the two countries in defense and technology. The Soviet Union has also given economical and military help to India on a large scale. When the Soviet Union collapsed, India tried to establish relations with Russia. Due to the political and economical problems in Russia, relations did not improve much. After 1996, Indo-Russian relations began to improve slowly. India and Russia have jointly built projects related to production of military equipment, production of mineral oil, etc. India and European nations. There are trade relations between European nations and India. Especially Germany and France invest on a large scale in the field of technology in India. Apart from this, India gets the technology of production of weapons from European nations. India is a major exporter in fields of engineering and information technology. Both have the objective of firmness on free trade. India and European nations are cooperating in other areas as well. Several treaties have been signed in the fields of climate change, clean energy, defense production, disaster management, security of airspace, and terrorism. This cooperation is very important from the point of view of India's development. We have an activity here. Let's find out. First one. When was the European Union established? Second one, find out more about the European market and the European currency. India and continent of Africa. India has consciously taken steps to build cooperation with India and the continent of Africa. Having close relationships with Africa will be beneficial from the point of view of both. Many countries in Africa are developing rapidly. India has shown its readiness to help in all-round development of African youth. India has also agreed to give economical help and even grants to bring about development in different areas like technology, agriculture, and tourism, etc. India's needs can be fulfilled by the energy rich countries like Egypt, Nigeria, Angola, and Sudan. India is making efforts to increase trade with Africa. The Summit Conference of India and Africa was held in 2015, and the representatives from all 54 African nations attended it. In this conference, the discussions were held of many global issues, for example, climate change, terrorism, piracy, etc. India and the Indo-Pacific area. The Indo-Pacific area includes countries like Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and the Southeastern Asian nations. All of these have close trade relations with India. Many companies have invested in India. Treaties have been signed between India and Australia about social security, extradition of criminals, the mission against smuggling of drugs, terrorism, art, and culture. Japan cooperates with India in basic facilities, economical cooperation, information technology, atomic energy, and railways. Japan has agreed to extend cooperation and technological help to India in the developments and security of coastal areas. Joint naval exercises are carried out between the navies of both and coast guards of both the countries. India and Southeast Asia. India has had a very cordial relation with Southeast Asia countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, Thailand, Myanmar, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and Brunei. After 1991, India changed its economic policy and adopted a free market economy. After that, the trade relations with Southeast Asian nations have grown. The policy of increasing trade with Southeast Asian nations is known as Look East policy. After 2014, this policy was made further more attractive. It is nowadays known as the Act East policy. India and West Asia. India and West Asia. The West Asian countries are primarily suppliers of oil and natural gas. India has traditionally had relations with these countries. India depends upon the oil coming in and the west from the West Asia. India imports oil from Iran, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates. We get a modern technology for agriculture and defense equipment from Israel. Also, many Indians live in Israel for their jobs and business. They also make a major contribution to our economy. The main objective of India's foreign policy is to maintain friendly relations with all nations and help each other so as to bring developments to India as well as the other nations. We have taken stock of India's relations with the main countries in the world. In the next chapter, we shall study some important international or global issues. Our exercise starts here. I'll read the questions for you. First column. Choose the right option and rewrite the sentence. First one. The country that has been free international border with India is A. Pakistan, B. Bangladesh, C. Nepal, and D. Myanmar. Second one. The country that has tense relations with India. A. Pakistan and China, B. Nepal and Bhutan, C. Myanmar and Maldives, D. Afghanistan and America. Third question. Factors that have an influence on the relations between India and Pakistan. A. Difference in the world view of both the countries. B. Kashmir issue. C. Nuclear rivalry. D. All the above. All the questions for easy. I guess you'll easily find the answers. Second row. Explain with reasons whether the following statements are true or false. First one. India has an important position among the South Asian countries. Second one. Sino-Indian relations are friendly. Third one. India sent a peacekeeping force to help the Sri Lankan government. Third row is complete the following chart. We have exchanges and countries. Look into the table and find the answers from the chapter above. Fourth row, write short notes on first Shimla Agreement, second Indo-Nepalese Friendship Treaty, third Machahon Line, fourth Indo-Afghanistan relations. Fifth question. Answer the following questions in brief. First one, explain the background of cooperative relations between India and America. 2. Give some information about the efforts taken by India for the establishment of democracy in neighboring countries with examples. Third one, what is the role of South Asian Association for regional cooperation? Sixth row, give your own opinion about first one. What remedies would you suggest in order to reduce the tensions in the relation between India and Pakistan? Second question, do you agree with the statement? Hurdles are created in the way of internal development due to the tense relations of India with neighboring countries. Explain with reasons. Third one, do you think that strong, healthy relation with India with America are conducive to India's economic development? We have a task over here. First one, obtain some information about the foreign tours and the president and the prime minister. Second one, find out about youth exchange programs in different countries. I guess you guys understood this chapter. Thank you.